folks, welcome into another episode. It is Friday, and it is Hot Topics right here on pubsportsradio.com. A lot of things going on in the sporting world. He's Jeff Nadu, I'm Donnie Seymour, but one thing takes precedent. That is the NFL schedule, Jeff, came out last night.
Yeah, Donnie, I'll never understand the obsession with the NFL schedules.
There is no obsession. This is a different time, though, so I'm going to play
I get it. I never personally understood it. Like, I was on Periscope last night. I had probably 20 different people ask me about the schedule, and it's like, well, I don't know. It just came out. I don't have time to go over every team. But, you're right. It is a different time. So I think, Donnie, if they announce tomorrow that pigs would be racing, I'm sure people would have renewed interest in it that maybe they never had. So, it's definitely exciting. The NFL has done a great job with their offseason. They have not missed a beat, and they look like a freight train headed towards fall.
No, you're exactly right. We'll have some fun talking about the schedule, but you're right. I mean, we'd probably say over the big four leagues, the professional sports leagues, the NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, and the NFL. The NFL probably means more with the schedule opening. Some people plan vacations around maybe your team's road game, or do we get an interesting Monday night football game? Who do we open with? Those are all fun stuff. But in this pandemic time, it's really the only thing to look forward to. But I have to say, go a little bit off topic. I know you returned comment on one of the tweets that I had. You started this conversation off the right way. There's a right way to do things in sports. There's putting a good face on stuff, and there's being like a complete sham. You look at the NFL, Jeff, moving forward and saying, you know what? We have contingency plans. If something goes wrong and we can't have fans in Los Angeles, we have escape clause that we can get in of and out of, but we're going to proceed as if everything's going to be okay as we expect it. You got one league out here, Jeff, that I'm reading the quotes on, and instead of being like the NFL, or excuse me, the Major League Baseball is looking for a way to go. The NHL is looking for. There's one league out there, Jeff, that's just saying the most asinine things, and it's like, you know what? It's okay. You don't have to play, guys.
Yeah, the NBA doesn't seem like they have any interest in getting back to work. And that's what one thing I was concerned about, Donnie. Not only do they seem to have no interest, but they're the leader is a guy that doesn't want to make any waves anywhere. He seems to be a guy that will kowtow to any governor that says no. I don't think the NBA will come back. That's just my opinion. I mean, at this point, why not just scrap the season and say, all right, let's get ready for, October, and let's be ready. Maybe we'll, be able by the mid of the season to have fans back and things like that. It's a shame, but, the thing about the NBA is, and I mean this with all due respect, and I'm just being honest here. I think sometimes the NBA gets way too involved in stuff not involving the NBA. There's way too many things that are being brought up that, like the point about the quote about the incarceration thing was really, frankly, ridiculous, I might say. I mean, look, nobody said anything about armed guards. Nobody said anything about that. Nobody's brought that up. I don't understand the continued kind of relating it to, it's nowhere near being incarcerated. That's ridiculous. It's stupid. It makes no sense. Credit LeBron. He seems like the only one that actually is willing. There needs to be some sort of direction. With the NBA, there's none. I've heard nothing as far as actual ideas, as far as like these random ideas. When will the NBA step up and say, okay, look, by June 1st, we're going to have an answer to this, Step up and make a decision.
No, they're good. Actually, they have a phone call scheduled for today, which I'm sure we're going to get some really interesting quotes coming out of it. But it just seems like the one league that's okay with, shutting it down and not really excited if it comes back, which is okay, because if some other leagues come back, they'll give us something to watch. And we talked about USC coming back tomorrow. We'll see how they can pull it off. So
I would love to have it back, but I got to be honest. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't expect it to.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But back to the NFL, Jeff, it is interesting. We're Eagle fans, as you guys know. I mean, we've been coming on here for years and years and years, letting you know. But there are some interesting things that are popping up. I always like to see who you play first, Jeff, and just take a look at the Eagles schedule at the Redskins. I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect game for the Eagles that can go on the road to win that game. Just your thoughts on some of the things that pop up, because you're right. Even last night, I'm the biggest schedule guy that I want to look at, but there's 30 teams in the NFL, right? So, I mean, you can't go, oh, man, you missed that one on week 7 where they're going to have a bye week. Just getting the overall flow. I look at the Eagles schedule. It is a tough schedule, but I think it's a fair schedule for the Eagles. We finally get the home Thursday night football game against the New York Giants. I think the bye week is nice, comes in week 9, so you don't have to get that, like week 3 bye, week 4 bye, and then go through the entire schedule without getting a breather. I think it's a fair schedule, Jeff, but I have to say again, I'm going to do a video a little bit later on the Cowboys schedule. The Cowboys had another sensational schedule by the NFL. Does it surprise you?
No, of course not. I mean, that never surprises me. It's also, why do athletes get tested before any of us? Just how it works. But no, Donnie, you mentioned the Eagles, 25th though in schedule ease. So I mean, they're one of the, according to previous year's ratings, they have one of the easiest schedules. But I hear what you're saying. Kind of reminds me a lot of last year's. Early on, I don't think it's brutal. But
I think they open up, Jeff, 3-0. I do. I think they beat the Redskins. You get the Rams at home, then you get the Bengals, then you hit that really rough stretch. But you like, as an NFL team, right? Get off to a hot start and then see where things happen, as opposed to, boy, look at that tough start, 1-2 or 0-3 or something like that.
Yeah, and you throw in the Giants early in the season as well. You have some opportunities, and like I said, last year's schedule was similar. They had a pretty easy start to the schedule. They get the Redskins again, which you look at the Eagles. I mean, they have owned the Redskins over the last couple of years. I know last year was kind of the outlier with that odd loss that they had. Was it the first game of the year? Didn't they lose?
No, I beat them. They were down 21-0 early.
Oh, that's right. They came back.
The Deshaun Jackson game. Yep, you're right.
Yep. I always get confused sometimes with some. They run together so often. But another interesting thing, Donnie, kind of a underrated point of the schedule is they have a bye at the middle point of the season, which I feel for psyche, it's kind of a good thing. You kind of get that break. You get that. It's always nice, Donnie, during the school year, like when you're in school, where Christmas break's kind of the midpoint of the year, right?
Yep.
You kind of get to reload. And as football players, it's kind of a mindset, I think. So I kind of like that. But you're right. I mean, the late season is tough. I mean, you have 3 road games in a row, which I believe they had last year. You got to go to San Francisco. You got to, Pittsburgh's going to be tougher this year. Obviously, that defense is really good. I don't think it's brutal. I don't think it's great either. I think it's kind of a middle tier schedule. I think they're like 11-5 type of team.
Yeah, if we're looking at a team total, Jeff, 9.5 it was. I didn't check this morning what it was, but it was 9.5 minus 105 last night before the schedule came out. I can't imagine it changing all that much. But I do see, and again, these aren't homer clauses, because I think the Dallas Cowboys will be right along with them. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, Jeff, are a double-digit win football team, and I have them, if everything goes well, 11-5. If you slip up on one of those games, 10-6. I got 10-6 as like a worst-case scenario. I think they're a double-digit team here.
Yeah, I think people also, you'll see a lot of people mention, like, they'll kind of overrate like weeks 12 through 16, where like some people say that's so difficult. Well, they get the Seahawks at home. I think that's a coin flip game for the Eagles. I don't think the Seahawks are better or worse than the Eagles. I think they're right on kind of even terms. At Green Bay, I mean, they went there last year and won. Green Bay, I think, to overrate and say that's a tough game. It's tough, but I don't think it's impossible. Saints will be tough, but you get that game at home. At Arizona, I think they can beat Arizona, and then at Dallas. I mean, that's equivalent. So I don't think that's overly difficult. Obviously, playing the Ravens and Niners in a 3-week and the Steelers in a 3-week kind of range is tough, but as you said, the first 3 games are pretty simple, and then the 7th game you get the Giants, and you got some games mixed in where those are wins. So if you look at weeks 4 through 7, or I'm sorry, 1 through 7, I could see them 4-3, 5-2 maybe. I don't think the Eagles are big dogs to anybody. I don't think it's an overly tough schedule.
No, I think the Eagles are better suited this year. Obviously, look, injuries are going to take place and they'll lose guys, but you don't expect to lose like your entire skill position core, which you probably don't think is going to happen. So, right.
And your offensive line is back to full health. You have some help at corner all of a sudden. So, you'd have to expect they go up. I know we kind of vilify them for some of the draft picks they made. And look, I'm still going to mention the 2nd round pick sucked, but some of these guys, they have to matriculate. Jalen Reagor needs to be a big player on this team. Yeah. He can't be Josh Huff. He just can't. He's got to be a win. They've got to hope that Alshon and Deshaun don't get injured, which that's easier said than done.
No, you're right. And you take a look at some of the interesting games here, Jeff. How about on Christmas Day? Now, we've seen games on Christmas Day in the NFL before when it usually falls on a Saturday or Sunday. How about this one? A Friday game between the New Orleans Saints hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Is this maybe a shot across the bow at the NBA? Like, yeah, well, you don't want to play, we'll play, and we'll play on your day.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that the NBA is doing is they're really losing a lot of favor with fans here. I mean, teams, other sports are just going to take advantage of this, and they're just going to miss out on the market share. At the end of the day, and this is why the NFL is king, Donnie. At the end of the day, this is why the NFL reigns supreme because they're willing to take risks, they're willing to do things. I think it's a great thing. Obviously. Donnie, at this point, I'm never going to complain about any game. I don't care what game it is. Just give us live football. I don't care if it's Miami against Jacksonville. I don't care. I just want to see football. I couldn't care less who's on the schedule. But yeah, that's pretty cool to have, those December, Christmas type of games. I love those games, especially even if they're on Christmas, where they're later at night, where you kind of have the day and or Thanksgiving, then you watch the football.
It's interesting also when you see when you win the Super Bowl, you get to open up at home, you get to show everybody your ring and you get to hang your, banner. And then all of a sudden the matchup, you look at it itself, Jeff, Kansas City is going to be at home and Bill O'Brien on the road, which, hey, just the way it shapes up it is, but that's always a tough get to go in. That's going to be a tough one for Bill O'Brien there opening night.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I didn't love this game. I thought they could have did better with this one.
Is it because the Texans?
Yeah.
You wanted to see maybe a Tampa Bay or something like that. I mean, obviously we know that it's roles are reversed, but
give me Denver. I mean, at least give me some competent team. Like Houston is just not that interesting without Hopkins. Sorry. I mean, I'm just not interested in watching. Like, I don't want to watch having to worry about the biggest storyline being how will Bill O'Brien screw this up?
No, Jeff. You're missing it, Jeff. Look, I'm going to set the table for you in this game, right? Forget about Mahomes, the ring, the Super Bowl trophy in the house, and all the greats coming back to Kansas City to celebrate this. Just think of J.J. Watt running out of that tunnel, Jeff, with an American flag opening night.
True. It's a good point. I think also the interest kind of wanes because I got to tell you, I don't think it's going to be a big celebration. I think it's going to be the teams, and that's about it.
Oh, that is a good point. Good point, buddy.
So I don't. Yeah. The whole that's why I think the game means a lot more itself because like it is cool. You want to see the pageantry. You always like that. Yeah, you want to see Mahomes do his thing, but I got to tell you, I just don't care much about Houston. Sorry, this should have been a better game. Give us Denver. Give us Pittsburgh. Somebody. I don't know.
It's an interesting topic too, Jeff, because it's great that you just brought that up because my next thing I wanted to talk about was I actually love the NFL and what they did week 1. Tampa Bay, you want to be the king of the conference. You want to be to get to the Super Bowl, win your division. We're going to send you right in the battle against the New Orleans Saints. But as we know, Jeff, you're talking about early September here, and maybe we don't have fans in the stands. They had Cameron Jordan on TV talking about, like, we really need our fans in New Orleans. Like, it's a huge advantage for our fans to be there screaming so the other team can't hear. What happens if we don't have fans in New Orleans? Do they all of a sudden go away with their home field advantage? I think so. I do.
Yeah, it's going to be a real interesting way to handicap this year because home games are obviously so big in the league. Look at Seattle, look at as you said, New Orleans, all these Kansas City. Every team has an advantage. You'll still have the cold weather stuff, obviously, and fans may come back. Who knows eventually? But yeah, it's like that in every sport, Donnie. There's going to be so many things that are going to be different about this year that are outliers that are going to change eventually. But road teams are going to have a better opportunity, and road teams will do much better this year. I will say, Donnie, as far as the fan thing's concerned, I don't think we'll see fans. I mean, I don't think we're going to see fans until there's some sort of therapeutic or vaccine that makes sense. I will say this.
Paying fans, Jeff. How about paying fans? I'm saying pay people $50 to go to the game. I'm talking about does the NFL just step back and be like, all right, see, look, we're going to have to bite the bullet for a while here. If you would like to come to the game, it's free. You can get a free ticket. You can do this or that. Maybe you sit a section away. But the paying customer this year is kind of interesting because a lot of contracts, I was a season ticket holder for the Eagles for almost 20 years. You're paying into that. You're expecting a top-level experience. And I'm not happy with paying a few $100s to be in a club section if I can't really do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you right now, I ran a poll yesterday on Twitter. I got about 600 votes. 66% of those people said in September they would go watch a game in person if they could.
I wouldn't pay. I would, if free may be different. I would never pay.
No, there's two things I want to say about this. Yeah. First of all, I know most of the people that watch this video have never been to Philadelphia on a game day. But I'm going to tell you right now, if there's no hitch and the NFL says, look, if you want to come, we'd like to have you.
Mhm.
I think the link will be full on
Packed.
first game. That's just my thought.
Packed.
And I think we
You're
also
right.
have to remember, and I think one thing that's completely not talked about, most talking heads are always going to say, well, it'll be okay once we get a vaccine. Let me tell you something, first of all. I don't know if many people know, a vaccine, it takes a long time to get a vaccine. Donnie, do you know the shortest do you know the shortest amount of time it's taken to get a vaccine in this country?
No, what is
at
it?
any level?
What is
5 years.
No, and it makes sense.
And that was
because you can't. What you're saying is you can't rush it. We have a vaccine, put it out, and it kills 1 million people. You can't do it that quick because you don't have any back testing. Yeah,
that was the Ebola vaccine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also say this. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of people that are not going to take that vaccine.
Correct, because they don't trust
until we get to the point where this is an acceptable disease, where we're not worried to leave our house, which I think will be quicker rather than later. Most people already are.
Yeah.
Most people, if tomorrow down in the store, the restaurant down the street open, they would go and eat there.
Yep.
Most people have accepted this.
Yeah.
Until we do that, it's going to be a problem. But I'll tell you this, if you vaccine 100 million people, let's say, out of 340, that will help this considerably.
Yeah.
So I do see that. But, yeah, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised about how many people actually will venture out. Let me ask you, Donnie.
Yes.
Because you're a regular human being. You're a regular citizen.
Yep.
You have a child. You have a wife. If, let's say, Monday, your favorite restaurant you go and eat, you mentioned whatever, Bertucci's, whatever it is.
Okay.
Would you go eat on Monday? Like if let's say you didn't know what you're going to do for dinner, wife says, "Hey, what do you think? Let's go eat. Let's go to."
You know what? I might not go. Not because I think I'm going to get sick, but I just want to make sure it's back to normal. If you know what I mean. Like maybe if they open Monday, I won't go that Monday, but I'll go the next Monday. Like, oh, did you go out? Yeah, it was fine. It was
so you're not going to be one of these people that says,
"No,"
because
I'm not itching to be like. I mean, you can go to any one of these restaurants as well. We talk off the air about look, most restaurants that you like are open and you can get their food, which is fine. You can take it out and go home.
And one thing. Right? Donald, and that's the thing. One thing Donald Trump talked about is the voucher thing. So like getting people enticed to get out of their house and go somewhere. And I think that's what you see. Mark Cuban's talked about it. I'd be perfectly fine, Donnie, with, every 2 seats. And I got to tell you, I told you the other day, I think that should be instituted for good. Mm-hmm. I mean, give us every 2 seats. It's too fucking crowded. I will say, though, Donnie, did you see the German soccer idea? Did you see that?
I did not. What
they're doing there? So there's a place in Germany that most of these teams are buying, and they're giving the opportunity to fans.
I saw that. Yes. The cardboard cutout. Right?
So
cool
you
stuff.
pay $20.
I would do it in a second.
And you get your face on a cardboard, and it's in the stadium, and it looks really cool.
Like your seat. Yes, I thought that was awesome because it keeps the fan. I mean, look, you're not going to get the noise in the stadium. Who knows if they even pump it in? But it's a cool thing, even for the players to look up there and just have that like normal, like, hey, look at that, man. Like even though they're fake fans, I love it. I thought it was awesome.
And another thing people don't understand is at every stadium on earth, they've got a great music system.
Yes.
Okay. They've got ways to put noise in. It's really not going to be that bad. Okay.
Nope. Go to any pregame. Go to any pregame, college, NBA, whatever it is. They boom music from the mics. Everybody's jumping around. It's the way.
I mean, you ever been to a hockey game?
Yes.
I mean, during a hockey game, if there's not like a goal scored,
it's like a rock concert.
All you hear is the ice and the sticks and the stuff. So, yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I think we're going to be full steam ahead. And if I'm looking at September, I think the sports that are in play are baseball, football, and college football. And Donnie, Monday I want to talk about, now we're starting to hear the pullback that all of a sudden we don't need students at school to play football. As we said, money talks. So Paul Feinbaum, do us a favor. Take a week off. You've been dead wrong about everything you've said. Take a week off.
No, exactly correct. But we got a lot to look forward to, Jeff. Nice little weekend here. Let's root on the UFC. Even if you're not a UFC fight fan, let's just root the UFC to get a clean event off, and then we can start to get some of these big sporting events back in our life. He's Jeff Nadeau. I'm Donnie Seymour. Enjoy your weekend. It's Pub Sports Radio's Hot Topics, and we'll be back on Monday.